Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's Expanse video on the top 10 Amos moments. So this video will be the first in a series of videos where I'll go through all the main characters of the Expanse to count down my favorite moments of that character, and I thought there was no better character to kick off this series with than Amos. Good old Amos Burton, who had a lot of great moments this past season in particular, so he's still a bit fresh in my mind. There will be some spoilers from the Expanse up to the end of season 3, so hopefully you have seen up to that point, but not that big of a deal. But anyway, so unfortunately, since I don't want to anger the YouTube gods, I'm not going to be using any clips of these specific moments. Instead, you're just stuck with my description of these clips, but that's okay because I think these moments speak for themselves. Anyway, let's just go ahead and get this top 10 started, and I'll start with my number 10 favorite Amos moment, and that is Amos bonding with Kotazar from Season 2, Episode 3. Now, this is shortly after the battle where they took over the Protogen station. They took some scientists prisoners. One in particular, Kotazar, seemed to have a lot of knowledge, so Amos sort of tried to get in his head. When they tried to negotiate with him, he seemed uncooperative, and then Amos realizes he was the one that figured out it's because this guy's a sociopath. In fact, he compared him to pedophiles and saying that he's known some pedophiles before, which does make you question Amos's backstory and history, but Holden kind of skips over that part. Well, Amos is saying that his pedophilia is the protomolecule. It's what he's interested in. So when Holden was trying to attack the protomolecule or save lives, that's why it didn't compute with Kotazar. And it was interesting, a great Amos moment, that Amos was the one who recognized this immediately, and Amos was able to negotiate with Kotazar on his terms because he knew exactly how to bait him by giving him more information about the protomolecule. So that was a great Amos moment. Number 9 on my list is I'm Going to Need That Back from Season 3, Episode 12, the Season 3 finale, where Amos goes aboard the Behemoth, and he's asked to surrender his weapon, which he says no way. But Naomi, since he trusts her and will listen to her, she asks him to surrender his weapon anyway, so he goes ahead and does that. But then the Belters there place Naomi under arrest, and Amos says, of course, I'm going to need that back. This is talking about needing his gun back, and of course it's sort of implying there's going to be a lot of violence. But again, Naomi manages to talk Amos down, sort of again signifying the kind of bond that they have, and that was a nice little Amos moment. Number 8 on my list is flying across the ship to save Prax from Season 3, Episode 2. This is when the ship was in battle, and of course in battle they have to strap in and strap down, otherwise with all the emotion they would be thrown across the ship. However, Prax fails to secure the items and they get loose and start flying around, and one in particular puts Prax's life in danger, so Amos has to unstrap himself while the ship is maneuvering. Therefore he's basically flying against the G's and holding on to the railings. It's a really intense moment, but it also shows the lengths that Amos will go to save Prax and how close they'd become. So that was a great moment as well. Number 7 on my list is calling Prax his best friend in the whole world from Season 3, Episode 7. So this is when Amos is talking to Monica Stewart and the reporters, and he mentions Prax, and he refers to him as his best friend in the whole world, which is a callback to in Episode 6 when they saved his daughter. He introduced him to his daughter by telling her that Amos is his best friend in the whole world, and you can see that really affected Amos, that he never had that connection with someone before, and never been called that. And so when asked about Prax, it was really touching that he referred to him the same way, and it showed the kind of connection that they had, so that was a really nice moment. Number 6 is Amos WTFing the protomolecule jellyfish around children from season 3, episode 6. So this I thought was a really funny moment because it's funny because the protomolecule had been stirring on Venus, for a while, ever since the middle of season 2, and we're wondering what it's been up to, and then finally this weird jellyfish-looking thing just flies up out of Venus, and it's interesting to me that the show, it could have showed any number of people reacting to this. In fact, it could have had a montage of people reacting to this. It could have showed Avasarella, could have showed Holden, could have showed Fred Johnson reacting to this. But I thought it was an interesting choice that the only person they show reacting to this is Amos, and he's with a bunch of children that they had rescued from Io, and he's giving them breakfast, and he just stops what he's doing and just says, "What the fuck?" In the middle of children, he just drops an F-bomb, and that just shows Amos he doesn't give a fuck, and he'll just say what he wants, and it just shows the kind of awe that this event occurred. I think it was actually the smart on the show's decision to do this is the best way to show the kind of awe by showing Amos with a bunch of children just stopping whatever he's doing and saying what the fuck. Plus, I thought it was pretty funny. Anyway, number 5, favorite Amos moment, is winning the bet over Naomi's relationship, season 2, episode 6. So in this episode, Holden and Naomi reveal to Alex and Amos that Naomi and Holden are in fact sleeping together, and he's a bit worried about how he reacts. So he gathers them together and he levels with them. Is like, look, I hope this doesn't change our relationship. And the way Amos reacts is by smiling and saying, "I knew it," and then he goes to Alex and says, "I won the bet," and he gets to, and Alex is like, "God damn it," because they both knew already that Holden and Naomi were sleeping together, but they had a bet on when it started, and so as soon as Holden says that it started after they left Tycho, that means that Amos won the bet, and he gets to punch Alex, but instead of punching Alex, he gives him a wet willy, which Alex likes even less. So that was a great and funny moment. And also, what was great about this moment is when Holden went to Amos in particular and said, "I'm glad you're okay with this because I know you're really close to Naomi," and he's just like, "Yeah, I see her more of his sister, but don't get me wrong, I would sleep with her if she asked me to." And Holden just gives him this look. It's like, what the hell? And Amos, and he just says, "Yeah, good talk." And Amos just slaps him on the shoulder. That was a great and funny moment. Anyway, getting into number 4, we're just trusting Holden from season 3, episode 8. Now, this was another really touching Amos moment, because Amos and Holden have always had a really rocky relationship, particularly in the first season, but you see in the second season they grown to trust each other, and you see here in this moment how much that trust has grown, where the Rosnate is in danger. A lot of the other ships are trying to destroy it after it had just been framed from blowing up a UN ship, and Holden just wants to go run away and hide in an airlock, which of course confuses the hell out of Amos, who chases after him. But Holden asks him, "Trust me, I've never asked you for any," he asked, "How many things have I asked you for?" And Amos said, "None." And he says, "I'm asking you to trust me now." And so Amos actually does trust him, and gives Holden the time, which Holden later tells Amos was him talking to Miller, and he reveals that he was talking to Miller. And Amos could have said, "Oh, you're just crazy, I don't believe you," but instead he takes a leap of faith, trusts Holden, and then tells Alex to do what Holden says. That was a really great moment. So anyway, get to my number 3, being ready for Firefight, season 1, episode 8. So back to season 1, where the Rocinante crew and Miller go on Eros to look for Julie Mao. They come across the hotel, and Holden and Naomi are like at the counter asking about Julie Mao, who's Lionel Polanski's alias, and just sort of trying to figure out, and they're completely oblivious to what's going on with them, that the corporate spy they're with is getting really nervous, Amos notices immediately, so he knows that something's up, and then he sees a few other people around the room. He notices immediately that they are, in fact, mercenaries who are about to attack them. And I think this is a great Amos moment. It's a great subtle moment, because it's very subtle in the way they play this, because they don't really force it upon you. It's something that's in the subtext that you can just tell by watching Amos that he picks up. They just show him glancing at the corporate spy, and they show him glancing at the other people. And while Naomi and Alex and Holden are completely oblivious to all this, they're just talking about finding Julie Mao, not realizing that a firefight is about to break out. But Amos knows, so he just slowly starts reaching for his gun, but trying to do it in an inconspicuous way that won't trigger the fight too early. But then, of course, someone does see him doing that, and it does start the firefight. And so I thought it just shows the type of person Amos is, that he's more tuned to this sort of thing, where other people like Holden, even though they're good intentions, don't really know what they're doing in this sort of combat situation, whereas Amos does. So that I thought was a great Amos moment. So anyway, we'll get to my number 2 favorite Amos moment, and that is shooting Simatimba and being totes Kaz about it, and from season 1, episode 10. So this is when Naomi, Alex, and Amos go with this police cop on Eros named Simatimba, who's friends with Miller, and he takes them to the ship, and they take some belters and they save their lives. So they get to the ship, and this was when all hell is breaking loose. The purr molecules breaking loose on Eros, so people are dying all around them, and they're worried if they don't leave now that they're going to be locked out and they'll never be able to leave. But Naomi insists that they need to wait for Holden and Miller before they leave. And this funny thing is that Amos actually takes Simatimba's side and agrees with Simatimba that they need to leave now. However, when Naomi, as the commander, highest ranking on the Versanate, just says flat out, "We're not going," Simatimba pulls a gun on her. And it's funny how instantly Amos switches, where Amos still pretends to be on Simatimba's side and still starts to get the ship ready to leave. And as soon as Simatimba turns his back on Amos, he shoots him, killing him, and is just totally casual about it, and just yeah, Naomi, you're the boss. If you say wait, we wait. And Naomi is covered in blood that just splattered from Simatimba when Amos shot her, and she's in shock, and everyone's in shock, and Amos doesn't really care. It's just a casual another thing, oh, who cares? You say you want to wait. And so it just shows what a cold-blooded killer he is, and also how devoted to Naomi he is, because he actually didn't agree with her. He actually agreed with Simatimba, but as soon as he pulled a gun on her, no, you do not do that to Amos's friends. He will freaking kill you, shoot you in the back. So, yeah, that was a great Amos moment. Anyway, get to my number 1 favorite Amos moment, and this is probably, you guys probably saw this one coming because it's very classic now. Number 1, I Am That Guy from Season 3, Episode 6. This, of course, refers to when they finally catch up to Dr. Strickland, who's a sociopath scientist who kidnapped Prax's daughter, and Prax and Amos had been looking for her this whole time. They finally find her, and he pretends that he's on their side, and he begs for mercy and asks, oh, we're going to be okay now. But Prax, of course, doesn't see through this, and Prax asks Amos to look after his daughter and the other children while he goes into the airlock to kill Dr. Strickland. However, Amos knows that this kind of thing, killing someone, is not in Prax's nature and would forever change him. So, being a really good close friend, he wants to spare him from that. So he goes to Prax when he's holding the gun up to Strickland, slowly puts his hands down, and reassures him, "You're not that guy. You're not that guy." It was a sweet moment. It's saving his friend from having a somewhat traumatic moment and maybe taking him down a path that he shouldn't go down. So Prax leaves the room and Dr. Strickland says to Amos, "Oh, thank you, thank you." But then Amos has that look, that bloodlust in his eyes, and then he replies, "I am that guy," and then kills Dr. Strickland. That was such a badass moment. And I know why so Amos killing people, you could say, oh, how is that badass? But in this case, Dr. Strickland is a sociopath who's like killed children, experimented, tortured them for his own scientific cures. So you don't feel sorry for him at all. And plus, he kidnapped Prax's daughter, and it just shows that Amos has no tolerance for that kind of despicability. And he has, even though he's a cold-blooded killer, he has a code, and he helped his friend reunite with his daughter, which is very touching, and spared him the trauma from having the experience of killing someone. But for him, he can kill someone very easily. So that is it for my top 10 favorite Amos moments. I'm going to be back here once a month with one of these, with a different character each month of the Expanse, giving my top 10 favorite Expanse moments. Anyway, I thank you guys so much for watching. I do lots of other videos on the Expanse as well. You can check out my channel for that. I also cover many other shows like Star Trek, Game of Thrones, Babylon 5, and more. So be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. And thanks a lot for watching.